Beyond infinity and back again. On to them. Young dog and a talking. You know once in the shine, don't vex when you get married. Me nah make trouble stress my brain. Cut checks me, I cut to the chase. Start never second hand, never second hand, never stopping for a second, talking up and then again. Look a jump and sound, I go try and make statements. Don't test my patience. Beyond infinity and back again. On to them. Young dog and a talking. You know once in the shine, don't vex when you get married. Me nah make trouble stress my brain. Cut checks me, I cut to the chase. Start never second hand, never second hand, never stopping for a second, talking up and then again. Look a jump and sound, I go try and make statements.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, viewers, motorsports, gaming fans, and all who are in attendance today. We are starting off our 2023 season as the Jamaican SIM Racing Association in partnership with the Jamaican National Esports League with our series opener, Peak Performance. This is the pre-series showcase of the talent that will be participating in the 7-round series happening from June 3rd to August 19th. Currently, you are seeing views from the practice session that is currently in effect. That will end at about 7:30, where we will move into a 15-minute qualifying session, followed by a 35-minute race, then a small break for the drivers to recompose themselves, followed by another shorter qualifying session and a 15-minute sprint race. We are doing this in 2 sequences. Points will be allotted for both races. First race will be scored. First place 25 points, second place 18 points, third place 15 points, fourth place 12 points, 5th place 10 points, 6th place 8 points, 7th place 6 points, 8th place 4 points, 9th place 2 points, 10th place 1 point. Points will also be awarded for pole position, half a point, and fastest lap will be 1 point. That stands for both races. We are partnered with the Jamaican National Esports League, which is online competitive video game tournaments, which provides local gamers a platform to compete and showcase their skills worldwide in some of the most popular esports titles. This includes titles such as Assetto Corsa, which will be on display this evening, Rocket League, Tekken 7, League of Legends, eFootball, and Super Smash Bros. Sponsors partnered with the JNEL are Digicel, Sportsmax, Domino's, Fresh Approach Supermarket, LOL Snack Stop, Loop, and Primus Rocket Paintball. There will be cash prizes on offer this evening for the top 3 finishers. My apologies. First place will receive 25,000 Jamaican dollars, second place 15,000, and third place 10,000. The series of races start on June 3rd as mentioned previously. They will be every other Saturday running through until August 19th. There will also be cash prizes on offer for that event in the totaling $100,000, with first place receiving 45,000, second place 30,000, third place 15,000, and fourth place 10,000. We look forward to seeing that series as we have a very competitive grid this year. Most of the drivers you will see this evening. There are a few that will not be participating in this particular event, but will be participating in the 7-race series. They were all unavailable for today. The car that will be on offer this evening is the 2022 Toyota GR86 Cup car. This is an actual car that is used in a real-life cup known as the Gazoo Racing Cup, which is where it gets its name. GR standing for Gazoo Racing. It is a 168 horsepower car, rear-wheel drive, weighing 1,270 kilograms. Most of the liveries you will see on display this evening were designed by Mark Anthony Eaton, and with the exception of the liveries used by Michael Paisley and Kimani Eastman. We will be reviewing the liveries that will be used by the competitors this evening momentarily, and then we will be moving into qualifying shortly after that. We are in for quite a competitive grid, as we have been looking at the practice times, and everybody is within 1.2 seconds of each other, which makes for a very competitive grid. So we should be in for some all-time action this evening. The drivers competing in today's event are as follows. We have Jaden Harrison, who will be in car number 604. Michael Paisley, who will be in car 94. Number 19, Cale Baden Roper. Number 823, Kurt Moss. Number 18, Mark Anthony Eaton. Number 37, Mitchen Wallace. Number 13, Tavar Clark. Number 55, Kimani Eastman. Number 23, Davil Park. Number 127, Joshua Brady. Number 73, Jason Alexander. And number 33, Michael McName. All drivers were required to have completed a mandatory 50 laps prior to today's event to, one, ensure their competency, and two, just to kind of get an understanding of the circuit on which they will be racing. I can tell you from my own experience that this track will prove to be very tricky, particularly in Sector 3, where the last turn is a doozy. All right, so as we're watching along with qualifying, we can discuss the potential quali times that we will be seeing. We expect pole time to be anywhere between a minute 22.8 and 1:23.2. So the times we're now seeing on the servo are close to representative of what actual race times will be. Over a 35-minute race, we will get roughly 24 laps. So we should be in for some high action. There is a mandatory pit stop, which is required for a tire change. Drivers have the option to refuel, but can choose to fuel up for the full race distance from start. It will be interesting to see how those strategies play out, whether a driver will go for a low fuel strategy, which should make them faster over each individual stint, or if they will fuel up in the hopes of shortening their pit stop durations. So things to watch for as we go. We're getting a very fun angle that we have deemed the battle cam of Jaden Harrison going around the track. This is a camera angle that will give us the best view of wheel-to-wheel action as we go through today's proceedings. Jaden completing his lap there, going on to the start-finish straight. Looking to be on a pretty quick time here, as he was purple in the first sector, personal best in the second sector. He is about a 10th off the current fastest time. As And Jaden Harrison has put in a new fastest lap here. He's been looking mighty quick on the last few runs. We're now getting a representative idea of the pace that these rivals will be carrying through into the race. Let's see if anybody is looking to match that pace now, or if everybody is saving their runs for the quali session that is upcoming in a few minutes. As I said before, we expect the whole times to be closer to 123 flat, maybe even sub 123s if a driver can string the perfect lap together. For reference, the real-time lap record for this circuit is a 121.7. Just an acknowledgement of Twitch chat, we see you posting your comments. I did see a question earlier asking how many rounds there are. There are 7 rounds total in this competition. This is, as mentioned before, a preliminary round, which is not a part of that 7-race series. That 7-race series will have its own scoring system, whereas this particular race is a one-off event. 2 races, both happening this evening, which points are on offer for both. The driver with the best cumulative score out of the 2 races will be victorious. And there are cash prizes on offer for first, second, and third. As we're about to reach the close of practice, we'll be moving into qualifying shortly thereafter. There will not be a very long pause in between the 2 sessions, so we will be seeing some fast laps being put in with the hopes of drivers securing pole position. As we end the qualifying session, the fastest lap has been put in by one Mark Anthony Eaton with a 1:23.3. He is one of the promising young prospects of the Jamaican Simulation Racing Association, a fairly young driver in the esports world, but a very promising rookie nonetheless. So we have a few drivers to keep our eyes on going into the qualifying session. Mark Anthony Eaton is one promising prospect, as well as Michael Paisley, who has bumped his time. Moss is another quick competitor. and we can also be on the lookout for laps being put in by Jaden Harrison. So as we move into qualifying, we're in overtime in practice now. We will see where these drivers stack up for the upcoming race, and it should be an interesting one, as we have multiple drivers throughout the practice sessions that have taken place putting in very similar times. So it's a very competitive grid, and we hope to see some real action in the upcoming minutes. And qualifying is now underway, where we will be seeing the drivers vie for the positions in the first race. Remember, the first race will be 35 minutes, where we will get roughly 24 laps, and this qualifying session only applies to that race. So we hope to have some real fast laps being put in so that we can set the grid for the upcoming race. There is only one tire choice on offer for this evening, and it is a semi-slick tire. We have all but one driver on track at the moment. Everybody is in position to line up for their flying laps. That lap put in by Roper is not a representative time. The drivers are on their out laps, and so we will now see the more competitive times being carried out. Roper will be the first one across the line to give us an idea of what times we're looking at for this qualifying session. Let's see what these drivers have in store for us this evening. We compete for some cash prizes. So we have Roper coming around to be the first driver to complete a flying lap. Let's see what time we have on offer. 1:24.3, and he's immediately beaten by Kurt Moss, almost a second up on him. Mitch and Wallace slides into second place, 6/10 off Moss. Anthony Eaton, 7/10 off. But I'm sure these times will be coming down as the drivers are maybe warming up to what the conditions are like out there during this session. We do seem to have optimum track conditions, so we expect these laps to come tumbling down in short order. Michael Paisley seems to be coming around on quite a quick lap here. He was up almost 2 tenths in Sector 2, slightly down in Sector 1. All in all, as expected, he is about a tenth up on Moss's fastest time, almost 2 tenths actually. And that is about where we are expecting the times to start coming down to across the board. Maybe we might get down to that predicted pole time of sub 123. Let's see if these drivers have any more in the tank as they are going through these laps trying to put in as quick a time as possible. Looking down the line, we're seeing drivers up to 2 seconds off, which I'm not imagining is very representative of the actual times these drivers are capable of. We have looked at the servo times they've been doing all week, and I don't think any driver would have been above a 125, maybe 1 or 2, but I've seen them put in times sub 125, so we expect to see all of those times get a lot closer than anybody from Roper down the line, as those drivers have all put in 124s, 125s. So I don't expect these times to stand as they are now. Oh, we have... who was that? We have Jaden Harrison making an error coming out of the last corner there. Oh, it was Paisley. Apologies, as I might have misspoken there. The driver having that incident in the last corner was Michael Paisley, who is currently leading, but we have discussed the trickiness of that last corner multiple times, as we might see many drivers having that issue as we proceed through the day. That corner tends to be one that presents lots of problems, as there is a bump going through the corner, and it's a sweeping corner which should be very fast. But if you get it wrong, you get it very wrong. Jaden Harrison coming across the line with a 123 dead. That is a blistering time, and fastest we have seen so far as the servers have been going. Let's see if there are other drivers reaching that mark as we proceed. But very quick time from Jaden Harrison. As we're about halfway through the qualifying, well, more than halfway through the qualifying session, times as they stand, Jaden Harrison putting in quite a lot there with a 123 dead. Drivers coming along down to about 7th position. We're still within 8 tenths, and I imagine lots of these drivers still have heaps of time to find, as we've seen almost all the drivers down to 7th position putting in laps closer to that 123.2 mark. As we ride along here with Mark Anthony Eaton, the person that designed lots of the liveries that you're seeing on display this evening, we're getting a very good look at his livery, especially designed by him. And you can see the JSRA logo as well as the logo of many of the other sponsors being sported. And we see the JEI represented on his rear wing there. A fantastic looking livery. And shouts out to am_designs.ja on Instagram. The body through which Mark Anthony designs these liveries. As practice is winding down, we're still wondering. Is winding down, and we're still kind of looking at the times here. We're expecting some of these times to tumble. Not sure what's happening with some of these drivers in terms of the times being shown, but maybe there is plans to just keep a more steady pace throughout the race and hope that the drivers in front of you are less consistent than you. Looking at the times, the laps that have been done by these drivers throughout the week, we should be expecting quite some levels of consistency from drivers like Eden, who has completed the most laps of any driver with over 400 laps done. Next closest being Michael Paisley, having done over 300 laps. And then we have a few drivers who have done 200 plus laps in Eastman and Mitch and Wallace. And then most of the other drivers have done in somewhere in the realm of 100 to 150 laps, which is quite the endurance challenge in terms of laps completed. So we expect to see hopefully very consistent competitive racing. Let's just see if any driver can come close to matching Harrison's time, with Paisley being the closest man 2/10 down. Daville Park having quite an incident there coming out of the final corner. Speeding drivers coming through that might be on their flying laps. That was quite a crash, which, as mentioned before, that last corner is a doozy. You can get it very wrong, and there is a hill banking the right side of that corner that will lead to crashes like that one going forward. And qualifying is coming to a close. We're now in overtime. Things as they stand will have Jaden Harrison starting on pole with Michael Paisley in second, Kurt Moss third, Mark Anthony Eaton has improved to fourth, Tavar Clark in fifth, Kelvin Roper sixth, Mitchen Wallace seventh, Davil Park in eighth, Jason Alexander in ninth, Imani Eastman 10th, and apologies as I am not able to see the remaining two drivers. I think times as they stand will be the race starting order, as there are but a few drivers left on flying laps. Kurt Moss being one such driver. He was up in the first sector but has lost a significant amount of time in the second sector, so I don't think we will be seeing him take that pole position away from Jaden Harrison. I don't know where Jaden found that lap, but what a lap it was. And Kurt has not improved but maintains his third position as mentioned before. So we now await the start of the race, which will be coming up momentarily as the drivers now go back to the pits to start the next session. So, ladies and gentlemen, we will be starting the race in a moment, and what a race it is shaping up to be. We have drivers 1 through 4 within 6/10 of each other. Not sure what happened to Paisley there, who was in second but seems to be having server communication errors. We hope he rejoins shortly so that he maintains his position. But this promises to be an interesting race, and now it becomes a battle of consistency as drivers have to maintain their composure over 35 minutes of racing, and again that should amount to about 24 laps with one mandatory pit stop requiring a tire change, optional fueling.
Beyond infinity and back again. On to them.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are now preparing for the race start. As the drivers line up in their grid spots, we are going to 6 red lights, and we shall be going momentarily for this showcase event, and away we go. Mark Anthony Eaton seems to be looking for a move up the inside of Jaden Harrison, and he may get that move going into turn one, as Jaden might be coming across on him a little there. The two get a little testy coming out of turn one, and Eaton seems to have gained the lead. What a start from Mark Anthony Eaton. Having started in 4th position, has now taken the race lead with Cale Vaden Roper all over the back of Jaden Harrison. Slow getaway, it seems, from Jaden Harrison there. He now seems to have stabilized in 2nd position away from Cale Vaden Roper. Kurt Moss in 4th seems to have gotten a slower start than quite a few drivers around him, Mark Anthony Eaton and Roper being one of them. We have an incident with Davil Park, it seems, as he's tumbling down the order, and the gaps seem to be stabilizing now, coming up to the end of lap 1, with Mark Anthony Eaton leading the way from Jaden Harrison in 2nd, Roper in 3rd, Moss 4th, Tavar Clark in 5th, McNamee 6th, Mitch and Wallison in 7th, Jason Alexander in 8th, Imani Eastman in 9th, and Davil Park in 10th, Joshua Brady and Michael Paisley. I'm not sure what happened there, as Michael Paisley should have started 2nd and has tumbled way down there. There seems to have been an issue with Michael Paisley having been disconnected on the first lap. So we may be doing a safety car to close the grid back up, giving him time to get back into the race, and then releasing the drivers for a 2nd run, turn 1. So the drivers are now in discussion as to the outcome of this situation, and we hope to get racing going again soon, as we are now entering the safety car period where the drivers have slowed right down in order to allow for the grid to close up, given the incident that has taken place. We should point out that the pit window for the mandatory pit stop opens after the 5-minute mark and closes at the 34th minute mark, giving the drivers 29 minutes to do their pit stop. So, not clear on the rules as whether or not drivers can take their pit stop under this safety car proceeding. However, things to consider when strategizing for the race on a whole. And I believe we're going racing again as the drivers have now caught up. And we are getting action going as it seems Mark Anthony Eaton has gotten away very cleanly, pulling out over a second to Jaden Harrison as it stands. Kurt Moss seems to be close behind Jaden Harrison. Not sure what just occurred as Kurt Moss has tumbled right down the order, putting McNamee in third place, Jason Alexander in fourth. Michael Paisley now back up to sixth after his first lap incident. Curious as to what might have taken place with Moss there, as he was running in a solid third position, maybe looking to put some pressure on Jaden Harrison. We're getting testy between Mitch and Wallace and Joshua Brady. Joshua Brady losing a few positions there, having come close to contact with Mitch and Wallace. Tavar Clark moving up the order as Paisley following him through actually. Kimani Eastman falling down the order. Not sure if he made an error there or if he's just going, well, he would have made contact with somebody. That tricky last turn as he's now going through that turn. Mark Anthony Eaton with the fastest lap of the race, a 1:24.5, which now all we're looking for is consistency right around that time, as that is the expected race pace time for the drivers to be pumping in those times repeatedly, settling into their races. We're following along with the action here from the battle cam as Mitch and Wallace seems to be right in the draft of Jason Alexander, coming through that desperately tricky last turn where if you get it wrong, you can get it very wrong. It sets up your run all the way down the start finish straight to go into turn one, where you trail break through this corner, heading into a set of sweeping, well, we call them turns, but they're all flat out going up to the next hairpin. Gap seems to be stabilizing now as Eaton is comfortably out ahead of Jaden Harrison, 2 seconds. Jaden Harrison looks to be 2 seconds ahead of Tavar Clark. So we have 2-second gaps going down the field all the way to about 5th position, where that gap seems to be an intense battle taking place between Michael Paisley and Michael McName. McName on the back of Paisley, but he is coming under attack from one Jason Alexander, who is also under attack from Deville Park. An intense battle here from 5th down to about 8th position. The top 3 drivers now all into the 123s as Jaden Harrison puts in the fastest lap, maybe trying to close up to Eaton here to get a battle going. These two have had a few battles in the past that are battles for the ages, so let's see if we have one more on our hands here this evening. Mitch and Wallace here in 6th position, trying to take 5th from Michael McName into the hairpin. Mitchen is all over the back of McName. They're 4/10 apart. Mitchen having a look down the inside there as they go into the final hairpin before the last corner. And these two are matched very evenly going through this sector. Let's see, coming out of this corner here, which tends to be the trickiest corner to get right on the track. Good get out for both of them. Mitchen running a little wide and getting bumped on the side of the hill there. McName seems to have him going down the straight. And these two will continue to fight it out going through the first turn. Kurt Moss putting in a fastest lap, trying to get back into the race, having had an issue at the restart. Let's see if he can pull any positions. Still lots of racing to go, folks, as it's only been 11 minutes of action so far, so there's time for very many changes in position to take place as we still ride along with Mitch and Wallace, trying to get another look at Michael McName here. And he might be making a dive here on the inside. No, thinks better of it, as he might not have had the grip to do so safely, giving McName a little bit of breathing room having tried that move. Jaden Harrison seems to have fallen away from Eaton a little bit as he was trying to put some pressure on, maybe made a mistake or two, as he has lost almost 2 full seconds in the last lap to Eaton. As Jaden is another young promising prospect from the JSRA, might need to work on his consistency a little bit, as it proves to be one of his weaknesses. He has shown that he has the pace over 1 lap. Maybe the issue is in stringing those laps together long term. Eaton has, however, been a very consistent driver throughout his 8 laps so far, maintaining a solid pace that keeps him out in front. Michael Paisley, as we ride along with him for a little, is one of only 2 drivers sporting unique livery, well, their personal liveries this evening. His livery has been designed by himself, and he is honoring his late grandfather. Apologies for the gap there. He is honoring his late grandfather, Hilary Jardine, who is a past president of the Jamaica Race Drivers Club, who has been a huge influence on Paisley, as you can see the message there on the back of his livery for his grandfather. Paisley states that he is one of the reasons for his love of the motorsports, and it's what drives him to compete here today, having started in second and is now back in 4th position after a first lap incident. And he might be looking to put some pressure on Tavara Clark running ahead of him here to get back into the top 3 fight. Let's see if he can get any closer than he is now, the gap standing at about 7/10 of a second. Let's see if we have a fight on our hand here, as Kurt Moss now back up in 8th position, having gained what looks like 3 positions in the space of 1 sector. maybe a man on a mission after whatever incident put him down the order coming from third position. And there's a driver that looks to be going slow on the start-finish straight as a battle is heating up ahead of Moss here. And it looks to be the battle between McName and Park. Mitch and Wallace looks to have lost 2 positions there as he was running in 5th previously. We see you guys in the chat bigging up some of the drivers there. Somebody referring to Mark as the Giant Killer. That's an interesting title, maybe one we can give him as a nickname going forward. Moss making another move, trying to get back into this fight here. Next up on the chopping block is McName. Let's see if he can get into contention, trying to get back into the top 5, and as mentioned previously, maybe a man on a mission after whatever tumble he has taken down the order. And still with 17.5 minutes to go, lots of time for things to happen. Nobody has made a pit stop up to this point, so interesting to see what happens when the pit stops start happening, how the order shuffles. Maybe that will be the shake-up that we need. Mitch and Wallace here, the first driver to make his pit stop. So remember, there is a mandatory tire change that needs to take place. Not sure what his strategy was on fueling. Maybe he fueled for each individual stint. And now, having made his pit stop, is good to go till the end of the race. So for the next 16 minutes, let's see what he can do, as he has now fallen to last place, having made his pit stop. Hurting Moss all over the back of McName, who seems to just be giving him the position, having left the door wide open for Moss to go through. Moss takes 6th and is now looking. Next up on the chopping block is Davil Park. Let's see if he can get him as well. Moss seems to be on a charge here, trying to get back into contention for this race. The gaps up front seem to have been stabilized. Harrison around 3 seconds off Eaton, Paisley 3 seconds off Harrison, and Tavar Clark roughly 3 seconds off Paisley as well. So everybody up front maintaining a 3-second gap. And should this be the order that this race ends in, remember points are on offer for this race as well as the next race. But that would put Eaton in the driver's seat to win this event. Mark Eaton, again, a promising young prospect of the JSRA, who is proving himself over multiple events, having competed in other major events of the JSRA, having come, to name a few, the recent CSRO Porsche Cup, where he has been making some noise in that competition as well. He did do a Caribbean versus Colombia event, having finished 7th overall in that event. And leading here today very comfortably out in front, showing his consistency as the driver that proves himself the Ironman, almost more than 100 laps clear of the next closest person to him in the practice sessions. Roper seems to be coming back into contention here now, trying to make a move. Oh, running a little too deep with a switchback. Hello, Mr. McName, and goodbye. And Eaton is now taking his pit stop from the lead of the race. I guess the strategy being pit now, fresh tires, put in some laps. Coming out in 5th position here, maybe 6th as Moss now gets by. But he will be on fresher tires than all of the drivers in front of him and will be trying to make a bigger gap than the 3-second margin that he had held before. By the time the pit stop shuffle has ended, at that point it would be on the drivers with fresher rubber to try and close back up to him. But maybe the strategy to go with her in an earlier pit stop, 12 minutes to go in the pit window. And as Kurt Moss now makes a move on Davil Park, man on a mission Kurt Moss is today. Whatever incident has taken him out of contention may be fueling his fire as he proceeds through the evening. Jaden Harrison may be looking to keep himself in contention here, having still not pitted and just putting a personal best 1:23.4. Davil Park, the next man into the pits, as well as Michael Paisley. So we're getting pit stops coming fast and furious now. Maybe everybody now realizing they have to respond to Eaton's early pits. Well, I say early, but with 11 minutes to go in the race, might be time for everybody to come in. Maybe everybody's feeling a little bit of tire wear now and trying to keep themselves in contention, responding to Eaton's pit stop. I seem to have been muted for my last set of notes, but as I was saying, seems everybody is making their pit stops fast and furious now in responding to Mark Anthony Eaton's pit stop. Or maybe it might be a little bit of tire wear being felt by the drivers ahead. But one thing's for certain, pit stops need to happen soon as the pit window closes in 9 minutes. And Moss coming into the pits from third position, Eaton moving up to third. Let's see where Moss comes out, as Eastman is also into the pits. I think within the next 2 or 3 laps we should see everybody finishing up their pit stops. Not sure where the top 2 will filter out, as everybody behind them has pit. Uncertain as to whether or not they're losing time. Maybe when they come in we will see what the better strategy would have been, whether it benefited them to go longer or if the undercut is working here today. So the 3 runners still requiring pit stops are Jaden Harrison, Tavar Clark, and Cale Vaden Roper. Roper running in 5th position. The 2 we're interested in is to see when Jaden and Tavar come in and where they will filter out. Not sure what the pit stop delta is, but Eaton is making inroads into the front 2, as is Michael Paisley. And there might be a battle heating up between these 2 as they are within a second of each other. If they do start fighting, it will only help the 2 in front of them to eat away at the advantage that they might have gained through their pit stops. So let's see what these 2 decide to do, whether they work with each other here or they are going to start fighting, giving the 2 drivers ahead the advantage. Roper now into the pits and comes out in 7th position. So that only leaves the top 2. Let's see what their move is as of now. These 2 look to be starting something here, maybe a battle to be engaged in between the 2 of them. Paisley was a little bit quicker in qualifying than Eaton was. Let's see if that pace is now coming alive on fresh rubber, as both drivers now from first and second position are now in the pits. And Harrison, I think, has seriously lost out here, as Paisley has overtaken him in the pit stop window. He now comes out in 3rd position, 2.5 seconds adrift of the front 2, which is actually a smaller gap than when the pit stop started. However, he did lose a position to Paisley, who may have been pushing for that undercut. He has maintained about the same gap to Eaton, minus about half a second, as Paisley is now looking to maybe put the pressure on Eaton as well. Paisley looks to be a man on a mission here, trying to secure the win in the first race, as a win in the first race puts you in very good position to win the overall competition. And he's having a look around the outside, maybe trying to switch back onto the inside here. He is looking every which way he can, trying to find a move on Eaton here. Eaton seems to be putting up a solid defense, and let's see, going through the last corner here, the tricky final turn that all the drivers have made mention of this weekend. Eaton seems to be comfortably maintaining the gap coming out of that corner, but Paisley will not be giving up that easily. Let's see what his next attack will be. Harrison sitting 1 second behind, having closed up to these 2. Maybe the fighting that has started has now resulted in him gaining some time on them. Let's see how this battle shapes up, because it may become a 3-way fight very soon if these 2 continue to battle it out. Jaden Harrison now coming right into contention of this fight. Only 1.4 off of Eaton, which puts him within a second of Paisley. And it will be 3 cars, 1, 2, and 3, almost attached, bumper to bumper here, going through the final sector as we come up to the final turn again. 4 minutes to go in this race, everybody having pitted already, and we expected around 24 laps. We may get almost exactly that, maybe a lap shy depending. Paisley having a look on the outside of Eaton now. Eaton defends the inside and will maintain that position, but that puts Jaden right into contention coming out of this corner. Paisley looking for the switchback here on Eaton, and they're almost side by side. They are side by side going through the sequence of kinks because you are flat out for this entire section of the track. Still having a look here is Paisley as they go through the first hairpin, but Eaton seems to be defending very, very well as he is parking his car right in the center of the track there, holding position. Paisley not having anywhere to go, whether he wants to look inside or out, and Eaton's choosing his lines very wisely here, putting Jaden Harrison right into this fight. 1, 2, and 3, anybody can take it here. Everybody else a ways off of the race lead, so it's a 3-way fight for the victory here with 3 minutes to go. Who will it be? The ever consistent Mark Anthony Eaton, Michael Paisley, or Jaden Harrison? We are in for an interesting fight here, and it is on like soy sauce on a wonton. All 3 drivers within a second, and maybe everybody just holding stations, knowing that there is limited time to go, and we will be in for an interesting last lap if everybody is just playing a little bit of possum right now with the hopes of making that move into the final lap. So we may have 2 or 3 more racing laps to go at the end of this lap with 2 minutes left in the race. Paisley again trying to have a look on the inside here, but Eaton is just offering a defense at every turn that Paisley makes. He seems very composed in his defense here, does Mark Anthony Eaton. Coming out of the final turn, Paisley might have a run on him here, as Paisley seems to have carried more momentum out of the last corner. But Eaton has defended the inside very well. And as they go into turn 1 here, Eaton with the inside line can offer the defense to Paisley. Mark is positioning his car very well here in this fight, and it's just giving him the opportunity to maintain the lead ever so composed. I think we're gonna get one more racing lap here at the end of this one, so we are in for another attempt at this fight. Going through the sector 3 here. Paisley still sitting in that draft, looking for a way to get by Mark Anthony Eaton, who is looking like the Minister of Defense right now. Let us see what we get on this final lap, or maybe 2 more laps, depending on what is decided when they cross start finish here. Paisley seems to get a better exit from the final turn than Eaton does, so let's see if he can get close going into turn 1, because that seems to be his only opportunity over the lap to make this move. But Eaton seems to have gotten away very well out of turn 1, out of the final turn, and maintains his position into turn 1. If there is but 1 more lap to go, Paisley will have one more opportunity to try and take it to Eaton. They say this is the final lap, so when we come around to the start-finish straight, this might be it, and Eaton looks to be in a comfortable position to take this victory, as there is no other real opportunity for overtakes throughout the rest of this lap. Let's see what both drivers do here as they are going through the end of Sector 2 into Sector 3 now. And Paisley might be trying to have a look, knowing that he is desperate to try and make this move stick with only a few corners to go. Jaden seems to have resigned himself to third place, which is still a very good result for him. However, Paisley is desperately looking left and right, trying to find a move to make. But Mark is just putting his car in all the right spots to keep ahead of Paisley here. And as we make it to the final turn, this should be it, folks. Mark just needs to make it through this corner and over the line, and we will have Mark Anthony Eaton taking the result of the first race. Michael Paisley giving it everything, but will come home for second. And Jaden Harrison will cross the line in third. Tavar Clark will maintain fourth position here. And Kurt Moss, what a recovery drive to take fifth, almost taking it to Tavar Clark there in the last lap. The rest of the positions will be Davil Park coming home in sixth. Roper will take seventh. Mitch and Wallace crosses the line in eighth as we go down to Jason Alexander, who should be coming across the line now in ninth position. Kimani Eastman will take 10th position. Remember, folks, drivers 1 through 10 points are on offer for all of these drivers. So we will talk about the scores in this now. What will be following is a 5-minute gap before the next sequence of qualifying and the sprint race. We will get back to you momentarily with the points. So folks, still awaiting a bit of confirmation, but I can give you the basic rundown of where we are now. Mark Anthony Eaton, having won that first race, has taken 25 points. Michael Paisley has taken 18 points. Jaden Harrison has taken 15 points for coming in third place. Tavar Clark in fourth takes 12 points. Kurt Moss 10 points in fifth. Davil Park 8 points in sixth. Roper 6 points. Wallace 4 points. Alexander 2 points, and Eastman 1 point. Harrison taking half a point for pole position, and we await the confirmation for the fastest lap and who gets that point. Ladies and gentlemen, at the end of that race, there is a 5-minute pause whilst we get set up for the next round of qualifying, followed by the sprint race. We will do a review of the points before the next race begins, once we have confirmed all of the details that need to be confirmed.
Give me something. Give me something. DJ, our time. Give me something. Give me something. Our time. Give me something. Give me something. DJ, our time.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, we are back with you here for the second part of this event, where we have another 10-minute qualifying session to now take place, which will be followed by a 15-minute sprint race. That 15-minute sprint race will also have points on offer, with the driver in first position taking 8 points, and it will be 1 point all the way down to 8th position. So first to 8th will take points in this race, and the points as they stand coming out of the first race are Mark Anthony Eaton having 1 on 25 points. In second place, Michael Paisley on 19 points, 18 for finishing second and 1 point for the fastest lap. Jaden Harrison on 15.5 points, having taken half a point for pole position. Kavar Clark on 12, Kurt Moss on 10, Davil Park on 8, Roper on 6, Wallace on 4, Jason Alexander on 2, and Kimani Eastman with the final point. Mathematically speaking, only drivers 1 and 2 can actually win this competition, as even if Jaden Harrison takes the maximum amount of points on offer, which would be pole position, fastest lap, and the sprint win, it would put him even on points with Mark Anthony Eaton, who would have taken the win in the major race, which would give him the advantage. Paisley is the only other driver who could win. If he finishes in first position, Mark only has to be a best 5th in order to take the victory. So let's see how we shape up here, as qualifying prior to the sprint race is now on the way. Let's see what these drivers have in store for us in the second half of this event. So as we are now moving into the hot laps for this qualifying session, Michael Paisley has put himself in the driver's seat here to try and take the fight to Eaton with a 1:23.6 on provisional pole at the moment. Eaton putting himself right there in second place, which is more than he needs to do in order to win this event. Let's see how the rest of this qualifying session shapes up. Remember, folks, prizes are on offer for the top 3, so even if mathematically the other drivers cannot win, that does not negate them from competing, as they can still gain a prize by taking a podium position. And if we are enjoying the action that is on display this evening, I know Formula One has been on a month-long hiatus, so we take action anywhere we can get it right now. Remember that this is only the showcase for a 7-race series that is upcoming, starting on June 3rd and running through to August 19th. So plenty more action to look forward to, and as there are other events coming up for the JSRA as well as the JNEL, as Kurt Moss puts himself in second position, having taken a purple first and third sector, but losing a chunk of time in the second sector, and Eaton responds immediately, putting himself back on the front row. Eaton, a man on a mission to secure the victory in this event. and maybe just set the precedence for this 7-race series that is coming up. We see the questions in the chat, and as it is a sprint race and not a reverse grid race, the sprint race requires a full qualifying to take place, whereas if the servo is set up in another manner, then we could do the reverse grid. So it also gives the drivers a chance to earn their qualifying spot and make the race a lot more interesting. Michael Paisley improving upon his time, going into the 1:23.3s, but Eaton looks to be on a flyer here, trying to take it to him, running a little wide out of that last corner there. As he comes across the line, let's see if he has improved enough. He has improved, but still maintains second position, less than a tenth off of Paisley's time. 3.5 minutes to go in this qualifying session here. Let's see if we get any other changes in position as we stand. Michael Paisley on provisional pole, doing everything he can to see if he can take it to Mark Anthony Eaton in this event, as mathematically only one of the two of them can win this event. So we shall now see if there is anybody that will make themselves an X factor in this event, as we have the two protagonists here trying to vie for top spot. Jaden Harrison now. Finding the pace again is Jaden Harrison. He seems to have that one lap pace, just needs a little bit of consistency as he now takes provisional pole position from Michael Paisley. Less than a 10 on Jaden Harrison here on another flyer. So far he is almost 2/10 up on his pole time from the previous lap. Maybe he has, and he has lost it going through the final turn. Once again, the drivers have all made it a point to note that that turn is the trickiest turn on the track, but Jaden lost a lap there, what could have been. Okay, folks, with 10 seconds to go here in qualifying. The drivers will all have a chance to compete any flying laps that they're on following the end of this session. The 5 drivers now are done as qualifying stands, and it is Jaden Harrison who is on provisional pole, Michael Paisley on a provisional second, Mark Anthony Eaton still on a flyer, Kurt Moss also on a flyer, and his lap is looking competitive thus far. Let's see what his time looks like as he comes to the end of sector 2 here. If he might be able to take it to that front 3. Maybe Kurt Moss has something to say here, having experienced some troubles in the first race. He has lost a huge chunk of time in sector 2, which seems to also give the drivers some trouble. Let's see if it does improve his position from... He has abandoned the lap. So, as the grid stands now, Jaden Harrison starts from pole position. Michael Paisley in second place. Mark Anthony Eaton in third. Cale Vaden Ropo in fourth. Tavar Clark in fifth. Kurt Moss in sixth. And as we're getting a look at the liveries as we go down the list of drivers, these liveries have all been designed by the man poised to take the victory here today, Mark Anthony Eaton. We have Mitchen Wallace in 7th position, Deville Park in 8th, Imani Eastman in 9th, Jason Alexander in 10th position, Joshua Brady in 11th, Michael McName to round out our competitors. The laps seem to be varied quite a bit with everybody after, well, the top 9 are all within a second of each other, but I'm not sure what's going on with Michael McName and Joshua Brady there, who seem to be well off the pace of everybody else. So we are poised for another 15 minutes of action here, folks, which should result in about 10 laps of racing. There are no pit stops required, so it will be nothing but hard-nosed racing. There are no strategies involved. It is go as fast as you can and get to the line first. Okay, as we are at the end of qualifying, we're waiting the drivers to line up on the grid for one final time this evening to have the final shootout where prizes are on offer for the top 3. We have, as the top 3 stands right now, they're actually also the top 3 to start this race. Jaden Harrison, Michael Paisley, and Mark Anthony Eaton in a slightly different order, but those are the top 3 in the competition and starting in this race. And again, folks, remember that this is just a showcase for a 7-race series starting on June 3rd. So if you are enjoying the action here today, we can look forward to seeing you over those 7 races starting June 3rd, ending August 19th. And as we line up on the grid here, getting ready to go, we are awaiting the lights to get going for the sprint race and the final time this evening. We have the lights coming on. We are awaiting the 6 lights, and as the lights go out, we have somebody that has we've had a few drivers jump the start there, but in the getaway, Michael Paisley has taken the lead from Jaden Harrison. We apologize, folks, as there seems to have been some issues there with the race. So all the drivers have returned to the pits, where we will have a reformation of the grid and a restart to this race. So please stand by with us as we await the restart. Apologies for the delay, folks, as we're trying to get the drivers back into their grid boxes, and we will be resuming momentarily. Some issues there with the pit window have caused or delay. We have now resolved, and we will be getting back to racing action momentarily. The drivers will be loading in, and then we will be starting the session momentarily. Okay, folks, and we're set to get on the way again here for what should be the final time this evening, as the drivers line up in their grid spots for the race to get on the way. And we are up to 6 red lights, and as the lights go out, we will get going. And we have an incident there from Mark Anthony Eaton trying to cut across to defend the inside line. Tavar Clark has now moved up, and there are crashes going on all around as Jaden Harrison leads away from Michael Paisley, Kurt Moss in third, Mark Anthony Eaton having recovered to 4th position. Jaden Harrison getting a clean getaway, and we are watching as Paisley tries to attack. And we have the top 5 drivers all lined up very closely together here on track. As we watch along, we are trying to see who will make the first move here, as we are early days in this sprint event. Remember, this is 15 minutes, roughly 10 laps, and we are vying for the remainder of the points on offer here today to see who our top 3 for this event will be. As mentioned, this is just a showcase, a little taste, if you will, of the upcoming 7-race series from June to August. And Jaden Harrison maintains his lead here as we go on to lap 2. Michael Paisley in second might be looking to take the fight to Jaden very early, as Paisley the only man that can beat Mark Anthony Eaton. Eaton now sits comfortably in 4th, which is more than what he needs to do in order to secure the win here today. So if he holds on to that position, he should be fine to take the victory here. Paisley once again looking at some tail lights, trying to figure out which way to go around Much like he ended the last race, he has started this race, and it seems to be a running theme for him in today's event. Let's see if the result will be different this time around, as he looks left, looks right, trying to make a move on Jaden Harrison here. Kurt Moss looks to be sitting back and waiting for the two to start taking action to see where he might shape up, and Eaton also very much present in this fight. Let's see what these four will do as we now go on to lap 2 of this race. Jaden Harrison with the fastest lap, 1:24 dead, as he tries to hold on to his lead, and Mark might have been trying to have a look there, or may have made a mistake running out wide, and Tavar Clark gains the position just like that. This is the lowest possible position in which Mark can finish and still win this event if Michael Paisley gets ahead of Jaden Harrison. So Eaton might be wanting to look to take back that 4th position, as he has an incident here with Tavar Clark as they make contact and both drivers have lost it. The stewards will be having a look at that incident, I'm sure, to determine what might have gone on there. But Eaton back in 5th position ahead of Tavar Clark. I am not sure whether that position will stand, but we wait on the steward's decision to see where that goes. This review will of course take place in the time after the race, as the stewards need to hear from the drivers and take other factors into account for that incident. But Jaden Harrison seems to be making the most of the opportunity here to take some points on offer, as he is putting in these fastest laps. Michael Paisley now a second off Jaden Harrison. Seems to be doing better with his consistency this time around. Let's hope he keeps it together whilst Paisley is chasing him down. Kurt Moss now might be having a look at Paisley, as he is right on the bumper of Michael Paisley. Mitch and Wallace, the beneficiary of the incident between Tavar Clark and Mark Anthony Eaton, now sits in 4th, but those drivers are now a ways off the lead of this race, as they have fallen 4 seconds back from this fight between the top 3, although the gaps now seem to have stabilized somewhat between these 3 combatants. Maybe everybody just playing it cool for the moment, knowing that there's 10 minutes left in this event, so they just need to hold their gaps to prepare for whatever fights may come. Jaden Harrison putting in yet another fastest lap, as he is just going and going. And what I hope for Jaden is that these attempts at pumping in these fast laps do not cause him to overdrive and make a mistake here. He might just keep it clean and keep putting in the laps. And yes, folks, just to clarify, this race does count towards the final standing. There are points on offer from 1st to 8th position, with 1st taking 8 points and 8th taking 1 point. So all those drivers can score points towards trying to get into the top 3 in order to claim a prize in today's event. And Kurt Moss here now all over the back of Michael Paisley. I think Moss, who has suffered some misfortune in the first race, might have a point to prove here in this one. Let's see if he can make anything happen with Paisley in the next 8 minutes. Davil Park making up positions on Joshua Brady there. Not sure what happened as we missed that battle, or maybe an incident with Joshua Brady as he has lost 3 seconds following Park taking that position. We hope that isn't another inquiry for the stewards later on. We rejoin here the battle for second position as Moss, still the closest driver to anyone else, trying to take the fight to Michael Paisley. Paisley, however, seems to be maintaining his composure in this event. Jaden Harrison still maintains a 1.5 second gap to these two as he is putting in very competitive lap times here. Mitchen Wallace in a drive all by his lonesome there in 4th position. 5 seconds off the lead fight and 2 seconds ahead of Eaton. Yet to know if Eaton can close back that gap to make up the 4th position, as he is 3/10 quicker than Mitchen Wallace on the completion of that last lap. So as it stands now, if Eaton holds this position, Jaden Harrison, having taken pole position and is now leading and holds the fastest lap, would finish level on points with Eaton. Michael Paisley would be in 3rd position, but there's still almost 6 minutes of racing to go, so that can change. We await the results of what is to come here in the remaining 5.5 minutes of action. Apologies for my rudimentary calculations there, as Eaton is still running in 5th position, which would put him 3 points clear of Jaden Harrison if things finish as they stand now. But we await the discussion with the stewards, given that incident between himself and Tavar Clark, as Eaton takes a full second out of Mitchen Wallace in that last lap. There might be a battle on between these two very shortly. Eaton now within 7/10, within 7/10 of Mitchen. We will see if he is looking to take a fight to him. Moss, however, also in a poised position to take the fight to Michael Paisley. Let's see which battle kicks off first. If Eaton finds another half a second out of Wallace here, I know where my money's on for the fight to start. So folks, just to note that for those of you in the Twitch chat, there is a raffle going on with a Domino's pizza coupon giveaway on offer. We have some participants thus far. the entries will close at the end of this race. So you have 2.5 minutes plus whatever time it takes the leader to get back to start finish in order to put your entries in. Once entries have closed, then a winner will be selected where you have to respond in chat to claim your prize within a minute of the winner being announced. And we have Jaden Harrison putting in another fastest lap here with maybe 2 laps to go in this event. Jaden Harrison sitting comfortably 1.8 seconds out on Michael Paisley. Kurt Moss seems to have fallen back from Paisley a little bit, sitting in third, 1.2 seconds off Paisley. Mark Anthony Eaton still right on the tail of Mitch and Wallace, but the gap has not changed much in the last lap and change. So let's see if there is any fight to be had between these two. As we ride back on board with Kurt Moss here, still pushing at Michael Paisley. The gap seems to be around 1.1 seconds, but it was a lot closer before. Maybe Kurt taking a moment back just to kind of gather himself as Eaton is making a look on Mitch and Wallace around the outside there. Could not make it stick as Mitchen would have had the inside line, but maybe Mark now makes him a little bit nervous in order to get him out of position for this last corner in order to take a fight to him down the start finish straight. As let's see what the exit looks like for both of them. Both drivers look to have gotten away fairly cleanly here. Kurt Moss with a personal best lap, maybe trying to take the fight back to Michael Paisley as these two look to be... Mitchen looks to have survived for one more lap as we now go into the end of Sector 1. Let's see if Mark can take the fight back to Mitch and Wallace here again. He is looking very testy here. He's obviously the quicker of the two, but maybe just cannot find the spot to overtake, as it is a very difficult track to overtake if you do not get the run coming out of the last corner. Sector 2 is definitely does not lend itself to overtaking, although that's not stopping Mark from giving it an attempt here as he is looking down the outside again, going into the last hairpin. Not quite in position to make that move, and Mitchen running a little deep there, but no space to make a move here through this section. Mark now right on his bumper, maybe hoping to coax him into a mistake. Jaden Harrison another fastest lap, as this is now the end of the race here. Jaden taking the victory in the sprint with the fastest lap. Michael Paisley comes home in second, Kurt Moss third, Mitch and Wallace fourth, and Mark Anthony Eaton takes fifth position. Tavar Clark comes home sixth as we await the remaining combatants. David Park takes seventh. Jason Alexander will come home in eighth. Joshua Brady to take ninth position. Michael McNain will take 10th. So remember folks, points on offer here for the top 8, and we will get back to you momentarily with the point standings. For those of you in the Twitch chat, remember that the entries are now closed for the coupon giveaway, and we will be announcing the winner momentarily. You have a minute to make yourself known in the chat, and the winner has actually been selected, and he is JRD Racer. So if JRD Racer can make himself known in the Twitch chat so that you can claim your prize. All right, folks, and we are confirming that as things stand right now, Mark Anthony Eaton would have taken the overall victory in today's event, with Michael Paisley taking second position. Jaden Harrison will be third. Congratulations to those three drivers who will claim prizes in our event today. And again, folks, if you have enjoyed the racing, we look forward to seeing you in the 7-race series, where this was just the warm-up for that series coming to you starting June 3rd. A big thank you to the JNEL for hosting us this year in the first tournament we are having with them. And thank you to the president of the JSRA, Stephen Stewart, who continues to see the vision of growing sim racing here in Jamaica and are giving these young drivers a platform on which to hone their skills and develop their craft. We look forward to seeing you in our coming events. Stay tuned to our social media pages to find out what events will be coming next. And thanks for joining us. And just a reminder that there are still inquiries to be made with the stewards following this event. So again, stay tuned to our social media to see any updates coming out of this. Just to respond to some questions in the chat, yes, there are other games that are played as far as these sim racers go. Formula One, Assetto Corsa Competizione, and there is another event coming up on Tuesday where the Dominican Republic sends some drivers to match their talents with Jamaica on Assetto Corsa Competizione.